Did they get a location where they hit a dead end?
Um, we thought there was a location, and then it was so sophisticated that that kind of blew up. So they don't have a location. They do not have a location. At least at the time we spoke with them, they didn't. And I don't know that they're going to be able to. My IT team thinks they can't. But I will say, in terms of location, there is something really interesting about this. And it leads me, and we'll talk about it in a minute, to believe that whoever wrote this note, if this is real, it is somebody from the Tucson area. But let me explain. There is a reference in the letter. Obviously, there's a money demand. And if the money demand is met by the Guthries, then it triggers something. And it triggers the return of Nancy within a certain period of time. So, and we're talking hours. And in terms of that time, it's interesting because we took the maximum time they gave. So pick a number and say that she'll be returned within X hours. We know what that X is because it's in the letter. I'm not going to say.
And then what did you do, a radius?
What we did was this. We figured that whoever's got Nancy, they're not going to fly back to Tucson because you're not going to get on an airplane and show ID and everything else, obviously. So they're going to drive. And they're not going to drive at 100 miles an hour because they don't want to get stopped for speeding, because if they get stopped for speeding, it's over. So they'd probably go about 60 miles an hour. So we looked at the 60 miles an hour and took the longest distance, and it's about a 700-mile radius. And it basically includes much of the western United States. And, you know, that's still a huge area, but at least it's something. In other words, it's not the whole United States. It's not Mexico or outside of the, well, it could be actually.
How'd you triangulate to Tucson?
The
Because
way,
that's interesting to me, because, you know, there's another crypto-related incident at Tucson simultaneous to this, that at least that's kind of the scuttlebutt that's going around.
I'm glad you asked that. The way we traced it back to Tucson is because that's what the person who wrote the ransom demand said, that we will return her to Tucson within X number of hours. So we used Tucson as the center and then went out the number of hours maximum it would take to drive. And that's how we created the circle. And so at least there is something here that within that circle, they can be especially vigilant if this is real. So it's something, because up to this point, there's really nothing, but at least the circle gives you some way of focusing on this.